Welcome, everybody. I am so excited to have a chat with Joe and talk about dolphins, talk about um, enhancing our ability to communicate with them, talking about Bimini, and he has some fun, things, comment about astronauts that I think is wild. The astronauts are attracted to Bimini. Um, and anything else you might wonder, you can just ask away. Maybe we'll have answers, maybe we won't. But I would like this to be really relevant. So if you do have questions, now is the prime time to ask them. And actually, I talked with some people who are coming to swim with the dolphins, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't have questions. We're just excited to go." So there's that too. You could just be here for the energy of it. And like we were talking about earlier, we'll show a couple clips. And so let's get started. Thanks for being here, Joe.
Well, my pleasure. It's great to see, for us to talk some more, Kathy and Irene and Daniel and Judith. Pleasure to meet you. Looking forward to meeting you in person. And I have been coming here for 29 years. I've lived, called Bimini home for the last 20. And I love I love island life. I love the Bahamas. The ocean here is clear and warm and often quite gentle and shallow. And of course, they have pods of, I think, the most interactive, playful dolphins I know that I've ever swum with around the world, which is why I'm here. And I was talking with Kathy and hearing about what she does and what she brings. And we were like, wow, that would be a fun mix to bring all that together and some kindred spirits who love adventure. So I'm excited for you all to be here in person. I'm, was out yesterday. I was just had incredible dolphin encounters, and I can just say that it's pure magic. We never know. And they're spontaneous, they're playful, they're inclusive, and I'm excited for you to get to experience them in person.
So I'm curious, what do you mean when you say they're inclusive?
So, I mean, a lot of people have I've seen dolphins all around the world, and most wild dolphins, if you're on a boat that's creating a wake or moving fast, will run over because it's fun for them to surf the bow, because the bow creates a pressure wave. And as you'll notice from the bow, they'll get right in front and they'll just surf that wave and leap, you know, and they also surf the wake. But there have been many times when I've had that happen, and because I've swum with them in Hawaii and here in the Bahamas and other places, I might stop the boat and get in, you know. And most dolphins are pretty shy, and they're not used to interaction with people. Here, and I've swum with them. I swam with them for decades in Hawaii as well. The spinner dolphins, when they would come into the shallow water bays during the day to rest, and very often they'll come over, and I've learned to kind of quiet my mind and just be present and follow their energy, and would find that they would be very inclusive. Well, the spotted dolphins here, I mean, they want to meet you. They're going to come right up. And they're swimming, so they're not going to come up and stop. That's pretty rare, but they're going to come by, they'll come around. And yeah, they're just very willing to play. And they'll play seaweed tag, where they'll pick up seaweed, or like many times with the spinner dolphins in Hawaii, where we'll bring out leaves and drop them, and they'll catch the leaf on their nose, on their dorsal, on their pack or on their tail. Sometimes they'll go all of them from the nose to the dorsal, no, from the nose to the pack to the dorsal to the tail. And then sometimes bring it over and drop it in front of you, which is, one of life's great invitations. And I find that the Dolphins here really love to play that game. And it often takes a couple days with new people that, that I'd say they get a read on everybody immediately on some dimension, but they're also, I think, waiting for people to be more present, more grounded, more relaxed. But even non-swimmers who are wearing a mask and snorkel and two life vests, they'll come over and say hi. They make a point really to say hi to everybody. So it's quite beautiful.
That sounds very inclusive. The Dolphins coming to say hi to everybody. I don't want to leave you out.
Exactly. And I've done a lot of group work over the years, and I used to facilitate a lot of trainings and whatnot. And part of my focus was on becoming the left brain become more aware of the right brain, the limbic brain. And so I would make a point to create inclusivity and just invite everybody to, speak and whatnot. And I see the Dolphins doing the same thing. They're making a point to come over and meet everybody. Not all the time, every Dolphin, but frequently enough. It seems that it's on their agenda to make eye contact with everybody.
Oh, Danielle has a question, and she's asking, do the Dolphins seem to remember people from day to day?
So, of course, the first thing I come up with is a big yes. And then, the logical brain, I got to qualify it. But I mean, I had a reunion swim yesterday with some Dolphins that I've only been back a week and a half. And one of my favorite Dolphins, Romeo, who I hope you all get to meet, came. The whole pod was going in one direction, and they were with another boat that was already there, and swimmers, and three Dolphins peeled. And I want to interrupt, but I just kind of go peripheral and put my boat in neutral. And three.
Oh, Joe, I think the Bahamas, it's not me. Is it me, frozen? Or it's him? Okay, yeah. Oh, Joe. He'll come back hopefully in a moment. If not, we'll play a video and then take the smaller, more like as many of us do, right? A smaller, intimate group of people is just more comfortable to play with, and so having a group of 7 or 8 versus having a group of 25. Yeah, the Dolphins have a good response to that. Welcome back. You're muted now. So if you'll take yourself off mute, we heard part of that, but then you froze. You're still on mute. I'll let you know when you're off, and I'll unspotlight myself. Let's see.
There we go.
Your stomp. There we go. Okay.
Oh, you know what?
Oh, Joe, you're muted again. Sometimes.
It thinks I'm driving, even though I'm sitting.
Oh, maybe it's moving a little bit. It looked like the phone was moving a little bit, so
Yeah, that was me. I get excited.
I get excited too. Okay.
Sorry about that. I guess they assumed I was driving. So I think that I think they recognize us, Danielle. And I think over the course, of the 4 days in the water with them, we will likely be with some of the Dolphins again and again. And I think there's a very good chance, particularly, and here's what I see. is you will have, at a point, you will have, in a, I guess, a soul recognition. You'll look at this dolphin, and it's not like I know you, but you will feel a connection and stick with that dolphin and say yes and just allow your heart to open. Sometimes I like to invite people to how much joy can you stand?
Mhm.
Because like after that swim with Romeo, I went and sat on the boat. Right? I got back in the water, but I just had to I just let it run through me. Otherwise, I was just going to disconnect.
So can you tell me a little bit more about your swim with Romeo because you did get frozen. So you're in the middle of your story. It's
Right.
kind
I started,
of
okay, see if I
different.
can wave with one arm. And then he comes over. He was leaning. It was just,
Oh,
it was just a real joy to see him. Now, I've known him since he was a baby. Um, and, you know, when you have that connection, you will feel seen. I mean, the best way I could explain it is the recognition. Do they recognize you? It took me decades to put it into these words, which is it's a recognition of I see you and feeling seen by somebody when they were in a different form. And really, it feels like from the beginning of time, before the beginning of time. Yeah, it's really quite magical. And now I didn't think of it that way. It took me quite a while because I kept having that recognition and that, oh my God, and that spike of exuberance and ecstasy. And over time, I came to realize it's, the recognition of soul family. And so, I mean, we're all fingers of the same hand. And I feel that the dolphins mirror something for us. I know they sure have for me, of a quality of love and joy and exuberance and presence.
that's what I feel like swimming with them is an invitation to more love, joy, presence, almost magic,
Mm,
a sense of like connectedness back home to yourself and the
yeah,
possibility that's available.
yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been with them in Bimini. I had a couple of Hawaii moments of connection, and
Beautiful.
and I shared one with you, in which there was a moment in which I was swimming with dolphins and they would come by and sort of circle around and play, and they were adding so much to my life. I just
Mm,
felt so blessed and peaceful and grateful, for this interaction that I asked sort of like, well, what can I gift to you? And they one swam up to me and then just not like up close, but several feet away and then flipped over and hung out there and then turned back over and swam on. And it was just like, oh, this wonderful, wonderful connection. Like in response to what I had asked, it's it communicated, you know,
mhm.
and um I'm curious about your journey with starting to connect with the dolphins. Like, I mean, obviously, you live in the land where there is so much dolphin presence, and people come specifically to Bimini for dolphins, although astronauts go there for a different reason, which we can get to, which I think is super fun. Um, like, what drew you to Bimini specifically, and then what was your journey, or or first, either way, what was your journey with getting to know the dolphins like?
Well, my I 29 years ago this year, I was in I was in the spiritual community, and one of the community members said, "Oh yeah, we just got back from Hawaii. We swam with wild dolphins." And I was like, "What? How come I haven't done that?" I've done all these adventures, and it it's like it stepped on a sleeping dragon's tail, right? And I'm like, oh my God, you mean I can swim with wild dolphins? So I booked a flight, and I was in Hawaii, and I was in Maui, and I was staying with a friend in Maui Meadows, who said,
Whereas,
"Come," our mutual friend Lily, and
ah,
we she took me where she'd swum with them, which was we went to Ahihi Bay. Day after day after day, no dolphins. And then that last night, I was like, what the hell? Like, existence, why did you give me this urge to come here? And basically, a lot of yearning was built up. Uh, and I had a real letting go. Oh, and the next morning, we went to the ocean. And I said, Ocean, whatever you got, I appreciate. And of course, the dolphins were there. But I went out and I swam with them, and I actually had an angst moment where I'm swimming with them and they're swimming directly away from shore. And I'm swimming with them for like 15 minutes, and I'm looking back and I'm looking down, and it's getting deeper and shore's getting smaller and Molokini's looking bigger. And, it's like, oh my God, I've never, ever, I was not an ocean guide. I was a nature guide, but on land. And I knew I was way out of my zone. And I'm like, can you show me you hear me? Can you show me it's okay? Stay with you because I should turn around. Anyway, they swam around. They brought me to the rest of the pod. I had a whole very powerful experience. And I came back, and I've been doing a lot of consulting work, leadership and team building trainings for different companies and a lot of executive teams, including some Fortune 100 companies. My own business, and I was burnt out, was not bringing me joy. It was bringing me money, but not joy. And my partner at the time and our son, he was 3. Back in Massachusetts, I went back and I said, I want you to swim with them. Hawaii is a long flight. So I said, where else? And I found Florida Keys was a place you could swim with bottlenose, Florida Panhandle. So I took him to both those places. And I heard about Bimini in the Bahamas, spotted dolphins. Oh, never heard of them. So we planned a trip to Bimini, and it just bowled me over. It was a coming home for me, and the dolphins just took me in, and I became smitten. And when you, as kids, when you start something new, jump rope, hopscotch, marbles, whatever it is, it's all you want to do. Chalk on the driveway, whatever it is. It's all you want to do. You don't want to come in for dinner. You want to go to bed. You don't want to go to bed. You just want to do it. Well, that's what happened to me with the dolphin. And unfortunately and fortunately, I pretty much still feel that way. Yeah.
um, so so then it took some time and I mean, here I want to preface this with I don't know about Florida anymore, but Hawaii has put great restrictions. I don't think they're great, actually, huge restrictions
Mm-hmm.
on interaction.
Yeah.
And the dolphins used to come in the bay quite frequently, and they would play and people would swim and have interactions. And then DLNR, Department in Land of Land and Natural Resources, cut that off. The dolphins don't come in back as much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now we're not allowed to swim there. You have to stay like a big distance from them and this and that. And they don't bother to come in anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it seems that, like, I mean, Bimini does not have that same kind of restrictive dolphins, but ultimately, I think the people creating those laws don't recognize, like, they're not being hurt. They're loving it. The
Yeah.
dolphins, even when we went to the Big Island and you used to be able to swim there.
Mhm.
Um, and again, same deal. Like the dolphins, oh, as you mentioned earlier, have this energetic relationship with
Mhm.
people, and they like to get to know us and stuff like that. And it just seems like the dolphins don't see any reason to come close if we're not going to come close to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, there's no restrictions. Yeah, I think it's unfortunate what happened in Hawaii. I think there was some validity to people chasing them, but
Hmm.
it was more the research was funded by, some of the swim with dolphin hotels. And, there was a lot of some friends there in Big Island who did some research, and the whole process was not like a lot of rules were broken in the way they did the research and the funding and you know but I'm just feel very blessed to be able to bring friends here, have friends join me here. And it's the most nurturing water that I know of. The ocean here can there's some days like yesterday where it's just flat calm. It's just beautiful, and the dolphins are very, very playful. Yeah, it's pretty magical.
It sounds magical. So, Irene is asking, do dolphins communicate the same way whales do? And Irene, if you want to speak your question and maybe like
Yeah,
talk more about that, or oh,
like how do whales? What's your experience? I mean, with
Oh, last year I was gifted a trip to swim with humpback whales, and the way you describe dolphins
Mhm.
is very much the same as when I was in the water with the humpback whales. I felt like they had this recognition, and it changed my life.
Mm.
And so here I am, desiring to be with the dolphins as well. And I just wondered if they just have this knowing about what what we're there for, like beyond our even our cognition, if you will.
Mhm.
Yeah. And without it being like a significant thing necessarily, just yeah. That makes any sense.
Totally, totally. I have had the opportunity to spend a fair amount of time with the whales too, and I remember once, I think it was Bashar. Um, I had a reading with a channel, and they said that a whale is often a part of dolphins that really hung out together and had a blast together, and they decide to reincarnate as a whale, which I just love the imagery because it was so outside of anything that I would have imagined, you know. Um, the yeah, I've reached a point now for me to think I understand, is to uh, profess ignorance. I imagine, first of all, that we all communicate intuitively and telepathically. And of course, they live with that, and we've been, socialized out of it. So we all have, like, on a limbic level, I know we all know what each other's thinking, right? Even right now, we can look at each other's facial expression, hear our tone, whatever it is, posture, body language. But it's more than that. That's observable. But we also feel. And we've learned in the game of separation, I think humans, we're in a big game of forgetting. We're in a very bold game, deeply into the forgetting. They're not so deep. They still remember that they're one and that they're eternal. In my experience, that's my interpretation based on their behavior and from what I feel I hear from them. So when they look at us, when they look at you, they're seeing you differently than you consciously see yourself. And I believe that at times, I mean, they've taken on some veils of forgetting, and just how, like, so let's say my higher self right now gives me some words to speak that will speak to a particular question you might have. I'm just talking and saying what comes to mind, but the higher soul, gives some information because it knows it's going to land over there. I think they're the same way. Like, they'll look at us and they'll be, I see you, right? And a frequency can come through that will resonate and activate. And of course, it doesn't have to be physical. I mean, you might have that experience. You might have already had it with them in dreams. You might be already talking to these dolphins in dreams. They might be waiting. They're like, oh, only 2 more months before you get here.
Hmm.
Yeah, great
You know,
question.
yeah, it is. And you pointed to something that's beautiful, because I think it's so transformational when someone can see you differently from the way you consciously see yourself or the way you judge yourself to be.
Mm-hmm.
When I mean, people, feel it with dogs. The dog is non-judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
I intuit, I feel that dolphins have slightly higher consciousness than dogs, but like that wisdom, that intelligence, that presence, really recognizing you beyond your judgment
Mm-hmm.
can be so powerfully transformative. And I think that's why I'm super excited to go spend time with them, because like when there's a space of non-judgment and play and joy and bliss, things have to shift.
Mm-hmm.
It connects you back more to who you were before you had all the layers of judgment and the layers of, trying to modify yourself and make yourself better.
Mm-hmm.
That childlike like openness and wonder, and um it's just it kind of leads into Danielle's question, which is, sh- you know, you touched on the reincarnation aspect already. Is it possible that dolphins are reincarnated with purpose to connect us to our higher selves or the higher aspect of ourself, since
Mm-hmm.
their frequency is that of joy, presence, and love?
I can imagine. I know for me, I did not, I was not conscious that I was going to fall in love with dolphins and the sea and then whales. And I did not foresee that. Um, I feel that, and my love for them has, you know, progressed from my humanness. And yet what I feel is, so I'm always asking, how, how do I open more to this connection? More to life, more to love. I really get that love's behind it all. And I desire, to be more on the frequency. I desire, I love being loving. And I think that, and I'm more present to love than I used to be. I think love is universally consistent everywhere. In our humanness, I will experience spikes, in, an ebb and a flow. And I think it's quite possible that they do too. I mean, I've seen them get mad and angry with each other, and but I think also on some other level, it's like, yeah, they're more awake, and so they see us more in our totality, and they feel. I mean, basically, for me, I'm finding the more I open to the possibility of the depth of connection, the deeper I'm feeling the connection is. And realizing all along that I've been the gatekeeper, I've been the limiting factor. As we all have. I mean, that's the game, right? Come in and forget. Wouldn't be much of a game if we knew we were eternal, and wouldn't it wouldn't be thrilling to be on the front row of the roller coaster, you know? Not as thrilling as it is for us here in our forgetting. Now we have the contrast. So I can say I love them, the Dolphins, more now. But on a soul level, I think, we love everything. And in my humanness, I'm experiencing more and more of a greater and greater amount or frequency of that love. And I'll be excited to hear. Fun to do a closing circle in Bimini, and of course it's not the end, but just but to say how it's a question I love to ask. How do you feel different? What has your connection with the Dolphins done? And it's part of the magic for me of sharing it.
What kind of responses do you get?
First of all, people say that what happens here, a lot of people say that they get clarity of their purpose in life and move over the next couple months. I've had people, like been depressed for a decade and have their depression lift. I've had people say they haven't slept in years. They're suddenly midweek, they're sleeping. Most people just have a hard time putting it into words and say in general that they feel a tremendous amount of joy and delight, and even when they think about the connection. So
I saw that on your website. Someone had said, something to the effect of, whenever I'm having a challenging day or whatever, whenever I want to, I can reflect back on my retreat and or whatever dolphin experience, and that's there for me.
Yeah.
That sounds powerful.
It's so I think that's probably why they're as excited to see you. They're excited to see you. I saw a comic somewhere where these two dolphins are talking, and one says, it's on my bucket list to meet a middle-aged balding banker from Mississippi. You know, it was like, I mean, it's just the way they show up. It's remarkable. We also have bottlenose here, and just as bottlenose are more shy, they're bigger dolphins, and they tend to be more shy around humans in most parts of the world. And here in Bimini, over the decades, a bunch of us have noticed that they're becoming more and more comfortable, more friendly. Particularly when they're with spotteds, they'll interact more. But just to see them become more comfortable with us, it's really quite magical to see.
So you say that those particular dolphins are more shy. And early on in the conversation, you mentioned almost the opposite. Maybe if people are hesitant or shy, or as they get more comfortable, the dolphins recognize that too, and they start to interact more as the person feels more comfortable. So do you have any experiences of maybe people entering the water in a state of grief or frustration or something where they were not in a good space and it was clear that the dolphins could recognize that?
Um, well, it reminds me of a family that came from Holland, husband and wife, and 3 young kids. And that I think the dolphins, like if somebody's scared or timid, they they I think they totally feel that. And they're very individualistic. And as individuals, day to day, moment to moment, that can change, just like us. I've seen that. I mean, we can just be totally interacting, rah, 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 and then boom, off they go, you know? Um, uh, and I used to think, what did I do, you know? And it's just dolphins just following their flow. But this family was here for 10 days, and I helped them all. Particularly, there were two, the mom and one of the kids that had not snorkeled much, so I taught them snorkeling, and they were both like a little hesitant, feeling safe in the water. Because the truth is, when the dolphins show up, most people are like, they're like already. I've had people come, no, I'm going to watch from the boat. Really? Oh yeah, I'm fine. Watch from the boat. And then they're like, do you have an extra pair of fins? So towards after several days, I noticed of swimming with the dolphins that the dolphins were not coming as close as they usually do. They actually were staying about 10 feet away, 8 feet away, not as close. And I'm like, what's going on? And then, dung. And I turned to the mom and I said, are you nervous about the dolphins coming in too close? She said, yeah, I am. I'm kind of nervous. It's a little scary. I don't want them to come too close to me and my kids. And it was like, bingo. And I said, well, I can share, having brought many families and kids, that it's completely safe. It's really, it's when you hear of people being hurt by dolphins, it's dolphins that are a little bit crazy, but they're in captivity. Dolphins really starve for connection and under a lot of stress. And she was very open to that. And I said, are you comfortable? Are you cool with it? Because I think that's why they're standoffish. To me, they're standoffish because them, of course, they didn't know. My God, the dolphins are just only 10 feet away. She said, okay, yeah, I'm open to that. And the next swim we had, it was amazing. The dolphins came closer than normal. It was so it was something, a learning for me. So I think they're just very responsive to you consciously and unconsciously. And that's why I often invite people to just give permission to a depth of connection beyond what we can anticipate.
Wow, that invitation. Okay, but how can I open to more, I think is what some version of how can I open to more?
Even because the how says that there's doing involved, that there's a right way. It implies there's a right way and a wrong way. How can I just say, I welcome, I give permission? And I found for me, because I think it's natural for the cork to float, for energy to flow in us, I give permission, I invite, I love, I welcome, I invite, I give permission. And what I love about that perspective is it takes my mind out of it. I don't have to figure out how to do it or what do I have to change. It's like giving permission to grace, because grace is right there, right here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Irene has a couple of questions. If you want to speak them aloud, you had asked about them being conscious breathers. Um, and there was a little more, at the time I didn't ask the question, and now I'm curious about that. If you want to ask.
I just heard that they were. And I know that I took a free dive class and then I was reading about dolphins and they were saying that dolphin cetaceans are like conscious breathers. And so I just wondered about that. I was curious how I would imagine if they're holding their breath underwater for so long, they have to be really conscious in some way. And they used to be land animals millions of years ago. So I wonder, I kind of been geeking out on it a little bit.
It's, yeah,
So I just
I
wondered about,
understand.
and then just about like in the retreat itself, like would it be like would we be observing them from the surface? Would we have the opportunity to swim down with them?
Yeah,
So that
absolutely.
yeah. So I was just curious about that. I live in the mountains. So I just got back into the ocean like last year, and I was like, wow, there's a lot to it to being in the water.
Yeah.
So wondered about that.
The I encourage people to free dive. Now it depends. I'll say there are times like if they're resting, they're swimming and resting. We want to match their energy level. So free diving will often just draws them over. They love it when we free dive. So it's great, Irene, that you're a free diver. And free dive, even if you free dive 5-10 feet, you know, they really respond to that. And now, when we're with bottlenose dolphins, I ask people not to free dive because they're very shy. So with the spotted, it's like just go for it, just go. No reaching, no grabbing, but swim with, swim alongside. With bottlenose, we're more passive, and it depends. We're looking to primarily spend time with the spotteds, and if we find a pod of feeding bottlenose or traveling that seem they want to interact, we'll get in. But with the spotteds, we're often free diving. And in fact, it's great to take turns and it actually draws them in. Because if we just float on the surface, they'll come and spin around and check us out. But it's the diving that really elicits more interaction. And what was the first question? Oh, conscious breathing. I geeked out on that too when I heard it. It's like, holy shit. And how they found that out is when they started dolphins in captivity, when they would go to perform some surgery, they would anesthetize the dolphin and the dolphin would stop breathing and die. Now when they know they have to, manually pump or however they do it. And it makes total sense in that environment because you drown, very quick. So I guess, and even the mammalian dive reflex for us is that if we're knocked out and we're face down in water, there's a tendency, like shallow water blackout, there's no breath urge to breathe, if you're face down, until your brain is starting to die. And then the body will do what's called a terminal gasp. It'll give one last chance to try and inhale. And of course, because it senses the face in water, it's likely in water, and you drown. But the fact that we evolved that is fascinating. And that's why when somebody's shallow water blackout, they bring them to the surface. put them face up and blow across their face. So the unconscious goes, okay, I'm on the surface. And often you don't have to initiate it. They just start breathing again.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Thank you both. So there are a couple of questions here, and one is, what is the temperature of the water? And I think this other one tails on into it. What are the conditions? Where? Oh, this is more about, I guess, interaction. So let's go with the temperature of the water first.
So the temperature is warmer than Hawaii. It's usually in the mid 70s this time of year, and it gets into the mid 80s. And by August, so by June, it'll probably be, I'm just going to ballpark it in the 80s. I wear a wetsuit when I first come. Because I spearfish a lot and I move slow. When I'm with the Dolphins, I'm more active and I need it less. But I'm, you know, put a sweater on at 65 degrees. So, you know, I'm from Maine. I'm from Hardy Stock, but you know, I've just chilled out. All the chill is gone. So I think you'll find it quite pleasant. And what was the other question?
And then the other
Well,
question is, oh, go ahead.
about the temperature. How long are you in the water at one time? That affects how cold I get.
Yes, me too, Lynn. Me too. It really varies. What I find is that really we kind of forget about all those things, including the need to pee even when we're in the water. Until we get back in the boat, it's like, oh yeah, because we're with the Dolphins, you know, we're having so much fun. And really, it's more of an issue when we get out. If it's breezy, you know, it gets cool. That's why I encourage people to, you know, to bring just a shirt and a windbreaker. There's not a lot of room for stuff on the boat. Really, all you need, you know, is come in a bathing suit and just, you know, a small towel and a dry shirt and a windbreaker. And yeah, if you get cold, you know, you can always come back into the boat. But I find most people don't need a wetsuit unless you've lived in a warm climate for a while. And you know, you may want to bring a 2 mil shorty, but off because sometimes we're in the water and we're in and out because they move a lot. So they'll stop, swim with us, then they'll move off, and we get back in the boat and follow them for a while, and then get back in. So we can be in and out of the water all day.
Um, yeah, that I really relate to getting cold in the water, and for me, when something is fascinating, like coral or stingrays or dolphins or whales or whatever it may be, there's much less sense of the body and more sense of wonder, and so there's not a real sense of coldness, or if there is, it's like, no problem. I can handle it. I can handle this. And like Joe, I moved from a very cold place to and have been in a very warm place for 14 years. So whether the blood's thinned or whatever, I'm very aware of cold. But when there's something spectacular like dolphins or other marine life, it's like that takes a way back seat because there's too much yum going on.
Yeah, and the ocean here is warmer. Like I said, it's warmer than a lot anything near what I grew up with.
Yeah, for sure. Maine.
Yeah.
Oh, we're like
I think where you grow up, you can't even keep your toes in the water
Oh my God.
for 10 minutes.
Michigan.
It's very cold.
Oh, oh. So,
Uh,
that's so true. Like we're gonna wrap up here. Irene had another question, and I'd love to, if anybody else has questions that haven't been answered, maybe you posted them higher and I didn't see them, or anything else, pour those into that chat or just put a heart under it and it'll pop right up. We also have a little video to show, and I will in the chat also share the link to the retreats. We have one last spot in the summer solstice retreat, and we have a couple of spots. I'm muted. A couple of spots in the New Moon Women Only retreat. So the first one, the solstice is not women only.
Yeah.
Magic. I hear typing, so people are adding their questions. We'll let those come in. It sounds like people madly typing. So, and then here is the link to the retreat. And thanks for being here on this call. If you are, you also get $150 off your registration. I accidentally just, yeah, okay. I don't know why it's appearing in the chat. There you go. There's the link to pop on over there. I also have a chat just to make sure it's a good match. Joe has taken, as he mentioned, like families with young children and people who are in all sorts of floaties, and so you don't need to be the best swimmer in order to come play. Oh, the best to stay. So on the website itself, the first spot is the Seacraft. And Joe, would you mind talking a little bit about that? That's where we'll be picked up every day. But you certainly don't have to stay there. There are other options that we'll talk about too.
Yeah, it's a place I've used before. It's a family owned. I know the family that owns it. It's very simple. It's very basic. It's not fancy. I'd rather give my business to a local than a chain, and people are, welcome to go where they want. It's island living, I mean, it's got hot and cold water and everything works, I love the view. It's up on the third floor and you have a beautiful view of the island and the ocean in both directions. So, and yes, you can rent bikes, and it's a small island. It's nice to have, just take a bike ride, explore and walk and explore. You're also there's the hotel is up at the former Hilton is up at the other end of the island, and it's in a resort area, and you couldn't tell where you are. You wouldn't know you're in a third world country, but when you're in Alistown, you definitely you're not in Kansas anymore, and then might feel different and a little strange, but then you're going to be sad to go because you'll fall in love with it. Just people are friendly. It's simple. It's small. It's laid back, very laid back. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you said the Hilton, what you mean is kind of like you could be in a Hilton in Hawaii or in Mexico or wherever. It's just sort of like,
Yeah,
that's a better word, generic, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I like that. Generic resort.
And then there's Cat's Cottages, which is walking distance and it looks pretty cute.
Yep. Cat's Cottage. Seacrest also has a newer building on the marina. They have a marina on the ocean side. And yeah, I mean, there's just, I think Seacrest is fine. I have some friends coming tomorrow, and that's where they stay. So I recommend they stay. And I've used it. It's basic, but it's quite beautiful. I mean, I like the neighborhood, and it's very simple.
Very simple. And you said there's one place, is it next door, like the Big Game Club or something like that? Is that next?
It's further than next. It's
Oh,
I don't know, 5-8 minute walk. And it's newer, more of a hub. Their marina is more busy. They have a restaurant there. It'll be, one of the places. They sometimes have music on Wednesday nights, so we may, encourage people to eat there on Wednesday night, to go as a group, those that want to go. Yeah, it's there's a variety. I just really encourage people to be in Alistown. I think it is the hub, and it's just a fun corner of town. A lot of places to eat in walking distance. I wouldn't say a lot. I mean, a good handful of places. There's plenty to do, and the beach is a half a block away.
At
okay.
Seacrest, is there by any chance a jacuzzi or hot tub?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I can ask him. I'll ask the guy who
Well, not at,
we'll
there isn't at Seacrest,
Okay.
there isn't. Okay.
but there's probably a
Which
bathtub with hot water.
Yeah. Okay.
we can look for that too. We can
Okay.
Google search or something. So you were talking about Alistown and Bimini. So why are astronauts so interested in going to Bimini after coming down from space?
Well, somebody mentioned that to me when I first came, and I was like, there was a famous guy. He invented the hubcap in America and became multimillionaire and bought a lot of land. And he built a big house, and he would entertain dignitaries and notaries, and a lot of astronauts would visit him. And I asked the man who worked there most of his life, a local Bahamian, and he said, the astronauts would say when they're up in space and they're looking back on the blue-green gem of Earth turning, he said, there was always this one spot that would capture their eye, and it would just sparkle. It was this beautiful turquoise area, and they would figure it out, and it's the Bahamas. And it looks like Chas joined us. Aloha, Chas.
Hi.
And when they came back, they wanted to go. They would all go, I want to go visit that place. I want to go be in those incredible turquoise waters. And they're hypnotic. I still love it. It's just amazing.
So cool. Oh, so it sounds like you really love where you live and get to spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
And oh, Irene, thank you. She posted Google Earth, so you can check it out. I'm gonna check it out. That's super. Thank you. That's cool. And then if you would like, if no other questions, and let us know. We're just beyond an hour, so thanks for your presence and your attention. We'll play a little dolphin clip here.
The construction has started back up here.
Zoom is super at filtering out noise. So at this point, we don't hear anything. I think the old version of Zoom we would have heard a lot. Right now, we're good. Irene, do you want to pull that up? That's so grateful, excited and grateful that you are both organizing this retreat. You both offer your unique gifts and wisdom. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to pair up and help usher you into the magical world of nervous system relaxation and the dolphins. So,
Yes, I'm very excited to have you all here and look forward to for you to experience directly yourself the magic here. It's been a treat to be here with you, and I look forward to. I have to go. I'm past my time, but it's going to get noisier. Thank you, and Kathy, thank you for having me. Looking
What
forward.
a gift.
Yes.
Thank you. And Lily is the one who connected us. So I'll give her a big thanks. And if you missed any portion of this or want to listen to part of this again, I will send you the recording. And I will also send you the link to the video I'm about to play. So if you have to hop off, no problem. I'll send you that link so you can watch it. And I will play it. So it's really quick actually. It's a minute and 15 seconds, something like that. So we'll get this going. And I'll see if I can say it again.
I'm going to post on Instagram some of from yesterday, this one yesterday. So that's another place too.
Perfect.
I can copy you, I think.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I'll share those away on Instagram. Thanks so much, Joe.
All right.
Have a great day.
Great to meet you. See you soon.
Wonderful. All right. I'm going to share this video here. It's only a minute and 15 seconds.
You have to press play or?
Oh, you don't see it?
Oh, I
No.
don't.
Oh, interesting. Okay, pause. They paused it. Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay. I'm seeing it and it's so fun. Okay. It's play. That's so funny. It is playing. Okay. Stop share. Stop this video. Okay. I don't know if it's because it's YouTube, they just won't let me play it. But I will send you all the link. It's so cute. It's this dolphin who's having a blast scanning this person. He's just looking at him. Let me try it one more time and we'll see if it. Thanks for letting me know it did not work. Safari, wild dolphins go crazy. Yeah. Can you see this now? Yes, Irie sees it.
Yes.
kind of wonder what his vibe was when he attracted them all. Like, or upgrade while he was being scanned or like that. So thank you all for being here with us. And feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. I'm super excited about spending a week with you. Anything else? All right.
No.
Aloha.
Leave
Thanks
the
for
link.
coming on.
Leave the link.
Leave the link.
Leave the link for the
Yes,
dolphin
I will
video.
do that. All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll
Have more.
send a video if you registered on Eventbrite, which
Okay.
most people do. Good. All right. Thanks so much. Well, have a great
Thank
weekend.
you.
Aloha.
Aloha.